What is good, everybody? It is your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. How are y'all feeling out there? Chicago. We've seen some struggles this season from Lauri Markkanen. Big struggles. We've seen him, let's just say it, regress. And I've had multiple people ask me, what happened to Lauri Markkanen? Let's talk about it right after this. Hey, yo, who's the intro guy? Because he been slacking lately. Can we get the intro in here? Thank you.
On one, on two, on three.
Stop it! Do not do him like that! Mercy! Did you not get the memo?
All right, now before we get into the video, if you are a Chicago sports fan, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page because we do talk Chicago sports weekly. And we don't want you to miss a thing, so make sure that you hit that bell. So, Lauri Markkanen has definitely regressed. He is not only having a season where he's scoring the least in his career that he ever has, he's also having a career where he is averaging far less rebounds and shooting at a lower field goal percentage than we're used to seeing Lauri shoot at. So what happened to Lauri Markkanen? He looked like this young up-and-coming player who maybe would never be a superstar, but would definitely be a name that you had to worry about in this league. A 20-10 guy, in my opinion, night in and night out, is what I thought we were going to get with Lauri Markkanen. So what happened to Lauri Markkanen? I think a couple things happened here. The first thing I think happened is the hiring of Jim Boylen. Jim Boylen is trying to run a style of offense that honestly doesn't speak to what Lauri Markkanen is doing. Now, I know you're looking at me and saying, Jim Boylen's trying to run a style of offense? Yes, but it doesn't work well to what not only just Lauri, but the Chicago Bulls want to do. His entire offensive scheme is literally just trying to do the in-the-paint offense and three-point offense. In the paint offense and three-point offense. There is no mid-range. Take the mid-range away. We're not using the mid-range. And you can clearly see that it's affected the scoring of the Bulls this entire season, but especially Lauri Markkanen, and I'll tell you why. What were Lauri's key strengths? Lauri was really good at two things to me. The first thing he was really good at was doing a pump fake on a three because he was a threat, because he wasn't taking 12 of them a game. And so people would jump out, try to block his shot, and he'd drive past them. He'd have the wide open mid-range either floater or mid-range jump shot. We really haven't seen much of that this year. If Lauri's got the ball in his hands at the three-point arc, he's letting it fly. And I think that that's the offense that Jim Boylen is trying to force on him, which honestly is what Fred Hoiberg did to Niko Mirotic. And I think that that doesn't work with these style of players. I think that the mid-range game is such a part of what these guys want to do. It's such a part of what these guys are good at, what makes the rest of their game work well, what complements the rest of their game so well that if you take that away from them, now they don't know what to do. And I think that that's what's happening to Lauri right now. I think that Lauri just seems lost on the court. The other thing that Lauri did so well was that drag step. We were about to name a move after Lauri, right? He was going to have the drag step. That was his move. And what was that move? He'd go into the post or in that mid-range area, he'd give you a little bump, turn around, drag that foot, pop that J, knock it in. He was knocking that in on a consistent basis last season. He was all the way up to 18 points a game, and we thought his point total was going to keep rising because he was only getting stronger, getting better as a post player, getting better, and we've only seen regression. So I believe that Jim Boylen's style of offense, what he's trying to force Lauri into, has caused Lauri Markkanen to honestly take a step back and lose a lot in this third season. Now, before I continue, I want to know your opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think has happened to Lauri Markkanen and how we can fix it. Now, the other thing that I really think is holding Lauri Markkanen back is his self. We've seen this season kind of Zach LaVine say, you know what? I'm going to get the ball. I'm going to attack the basket. I'm going to shoot mid-range jump shots. I'm going to shoot three-pointers. I'm going to play my game, and there's nothing that Jim Boylen can say about it or do about it to change me because I'm going to be great. We haven't seen that from Lauri Markkanen. And I think it's something that we need to see. I think it's an aggression that we need to see, a give me the ball and let me play my game. Because when we've seen it, let's think back to some of those big games. The Charlotte game, beginning of the season. he just played his game. He was dominant. He was on the boards. He was putting it back. He was shooting mid-range jump shots. He was dunking on people. He was pulling the three. He was playing an entire game, and he was getting the ball. I think Lauri's own aggression has held him back. Lauri not calling for the ball on a consistent basis. Lauri not saying, I'm going to play my game. I understand what kind of game you're trying to play, but it doesn't speak to wins. It doesn't speak to us being successful. So I'm going to do what I do while Zach does what he does, and we're going to do it within the system, but we're going to be the dominating force for this team. I think that aggressiveness, and I don't know if it's just not in his nature, if it's not in his makeup, if it's not what he wants to do, if he's but it seems like Lauri is very passive and willing to take whatever shots he gets. You know what I'm saying? We've seen Lauri end games this season with 12 shots, 15 shots, and it's like, dude, look, you got to get this guy going early. You got to get this guy going with more shots. You got to get more touches in his hand, more opportunities for him to be great. And we haven't seen that from not only the Chicago Bulls team, but mainly from Lauri Markkanen. He has not gotten touches in many of these games. And the thing is, he's not able to build that rhythm. He's not able to get into a flow. He's not at a point yet. And I say yet because I do still think that Lauri can be good, whether that is for the Chicago Bulls or he ends up moving on and being good for another team. He has to get in that flow early right now. He doesn't have that I can just turn a switch and I'm going to be great yet. You know what I'm saying? So he has to find his rhythm very early in the game and keep that rhythm going right now. The Bulls aren't doing that for him. Lauri Markkanen isn't doing that for himself. And so I think that Lauri is going to have some troubles with trying to get that offense going the rest of this season. Now, hopefully we see a change in how the guys play and how the team looks at Lauri, if they look at him as a number one or just a guy. But for him to continue to grow, for him to continue to succeed, he has to take it on himself and say, this is my team, this is my team, this is my city, this is my basketball, and you're going to have to pry it out of my hands. And I'm not saying Lauri be a ball hog, but I think Lauri Markkanen's best when he's able to get that offense going, when people are collapsing on him. And think about how many assists we saw from Lauri last year when he was so good at just like going to the bucket. Everybody's collapsing on him. He kicks it out to somebody for an easy bucket, for an easy three, for an easy two. You know what I'm saying? For a dunk. Lauri was very good at that last season. So I think if we can get Lauri going, if we can get him being more aggressive, more assertive, he can kind of get back in the rhythm that we saw. But I believe that the mix of those two things, Jim Boylan's terrible offensive play calling and scheme, and Lauri Markkanen's lack of aggression on a consistent basis, I think that we found a recipe for disaster with our star player. I am going to get up out of here, though. I want to know your opinion. What do you think has happened to Lauri Markkanen? Let me know in the comments below. It is your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all subscribe to the page. We appreciate all the love. Y'all stay safe out there, man. Peace.